Good morning, everybody. Next few minutes, I will be talking about the peripheral CT angiography. It is almost a century. Catheter angiography has been considered as the gold standard, but the recent one or two decades, various non-invasive modalities like vascular Doppler, MR angiography, and CT angiography has emerged as the major contender as a non-invasive imaging modality. Various study groups have shown that CT angiography, peripheral CT angiography is much superior to MRA and gives global view. Various study reports show 16-slice MDCT angiography is an effective, accurate, and reliable non-invasive alternative to DSA for evaluation of peripheral vascular artery disease. These are published work in AJR. Next is CT angiography has some advantage over MR angiography in initial evaluation of peripheral artery disease. Again published work from AJR and radiology. This work has been published in 16 slice, but now we are working 64 slice platform. Why peripheral angiography is ideal tool? It is non-invasive procedures, widely available, most cost-effective, faster and less motion sensitive, higher sensitivity specificity, and simultaneous visualization of vessel wall, vessel lumen, and perivascular soft tissue plants in a single data set. Advantage of MDCT is a faster thin tube collimations, dose modulation software reduce radiation dose, isotopic volume data sets gives multiplannar reconstruction, 3D imaging, and higher spatial and temporal resolutions. The net result is excellent depiction of vascular anatomy, wall pathology, luminal integrity, intimal flush, plaques, and regional sex, stenotic segments are better evaluated, graft stents are better visualized, vascular injuries are better assessed along with the perivascular soft tissue plants. So I am not going to various technicalities of the image production. Now, few questions comes about the radiation dose and the contrast nephropathy, how to reduce them. Now the various industries, they come up with the newer machines with very low dose radiation, like Toshiba has come out 320 slice, and GE has come with Gemstone, and Siemens has come with dual source CT, where the radiation dose is almost less than 2 millisieverts. However, we have got various methods like limit scan to the area of interest, low dose pre-contrast scan if required, use dose modulation software to reduce exposure factors, low dose techniques in pediatric age groups with definite indications. For contrast, limit the contrast volume to 1 ml per kg body weight, and regular pre-scan monitoring of the blood urea and serum creatinine to reduce the nephropathy. Now, this is the normal, how excellent depiction of vascular anatomy and pathological process. Here, normal neck vessels anatomy. Here it is the aberrant origin of the left side, right circulavan giving that is dysphagia lusoria. Here neck vessels are better evaluated with synaptic segment and quantification. This is the normal vascular to the lower limb. Here various calcifications are better visualized with CT scan. This is the different grades of coarctation from complete blockage to the moderate severe form to the very moderate form of coarctations. This is another aortic aneurysm. This is aneurysm ectasia. This is the post-traumatic dilatation. This is the post-traumatic aneurysm. These are better visualized with CT scans, CT angio. This is the abdominal aortic angio, that is aneurysm. This is the tetracity and various form. This is another one involving the distal aortic aorta and the iliac vessels with impending rupture. This is another form of infrarenal aortic aneurysm. These are all better visualized. This is the really surprise. This patient, young man, having dysphagia and irregularities for 10 years under treatment. Ultimately, CT previously somebody had done, it was normal, but this time we did the CT, chest CT to evaluate the chest pain dysphagia. To our surprise, you got almost right side aortic arch with anomalous origin of all the four vessels with retrotracheal retroesophageal aortic arch with a aortic diverticulum. So this is complete form, this is the cause for dysphagia. This is another case which I evaluated for a aortic root dilatation, preoperative surgical, but to our surprise, apart from the aortic dilatation, we got a ductal diverticulum. And this is a very interesting case. After AVR, patient had severe hemoptysis after 1 month, and chest X-ray revealed a paratracheal mass. We did the CT, CACT to evaluate hemoptysis. To our surprise, you get a large para-aortic pseudoaneurysm. And this was closed with the edge closure valve devices. And this is the post procedure. You see these devices are already placed in position. This is another case, aortic aneurysm, post-stenting. This is the complex aortic pathology. We have got a ascending aortic dilatation, we have got a type 1 dissection, and there is a severe coarctation. Same, all pathology could be assessed in same single sitting, same scan angio, and this is the post-operative. This is the post-operative follow-up studies. This is the case of aortoarthritis, suddenly developed pain, and CT angio revealed a type 2 dissection extending up to the renal vessels, and these are the all vessels already involved in the aortoarthritis. This is a very, very interesting case. Young man who had a gunshot injury and developed pulsatile neck swelling in the left side. CTs revealed some vascularity, but nothing mentioned. But we did the CT angio. Here you could see complete arterialization of the neck vessels with left subclavian to jugular vein fistula, and this was stented after stenting 4 days after complete disappearance of the engorged vein. So CT angio also helps in pre-interventional planning. This is about selection criteria, location, angulation, or very complexity of the procedures, various dimensions, post-interventional follow-up. There are various criteria we have to measure. This is the case aortic angiogram for pre-stenting evaluation to read the proximal neck. We had a accessory right anal artery supplying the lower pole, proximal neck, distal neck, which completely left common iliac was involved. This post-stenting, good stenting, but right side accessory renal vein could not, artery could not be spared, so there is an infarction of the lower pole. The endo leak can be assessed like type 1, this is Akbar the Head 2002, type 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the one of the major, after stenting, good, again another aneurysm with a leak, major leak. This is a post restenting, absolutely closed. So there are various leak at the end, posteriorly at the junctional point. So this is a young middle-aged man with upper lobe ischemia. CTs reveal a left subclavian thrombus, left proximal ulnar artery thrombus. See another young man having completely thrombus in the left common iliac and external iliac. This is a post embolectomy. This is another with right lower limb ischemia, profunda femoris thrombus. There is a popliteal artery thrombus. This is another man with lower limb ischemia, ischemic pain. Again, we have got right popliteal artery thrombus, and it can be quantified very nicely. This is another case with gangrene right toe. Angiograms reveal popliteal block. Left side there is a collateral flow, but this is after post subintimal angioplasty, good vascularization and healing of the gangrene. This is another case, chronic Léry syndrome, complete obstruction of internal abdominal aortic collateral flow. This is a young child who had undergone VSD closure. After 3 months of a severe right lower limb swelling, and CT angio revealed there is a AV fistula. Another case, postoperative arterial disease, FEM crossover bypass, and FEM pop bilateral graft all are functioning. This is a young girl with severe menorrhagia, uterine AVM could be well demonstrated. This is the post-trauma, lower limb completely no pulse. It could demonstrate the fracture site and injury, and there is a perivascular hematoma. This is something about the venography we do whether it is a part of retrograde filling or antegrade. The case who had 5 years back femur fracture now had developed severe right-sided varicosity, demonstrated the distal SM popliteal block completely. And this is a completely IVC block, right common external iliac block, common iliac vein block, venogram reveal varicosity, right-sided completely superficial flow, and left side it is going through the external iliac to the then coming to the internal iliac and perirectal flow, and there is a filling through the inferior mesenteric vein and draining to the portal venous system. This is a young child having swelling right upper limb. Angiogram reveal arteriogram is normal. Venogram, deep venous system is not visualized, it is filling through the superficial venous system. The differential include is acute Tanoy syndrome or Park-Weber syndrome. All two conditions are similar except this fourth, atresia, hypoplasia of the deep venous system in the Klippel-Tenoy syndrome, whereas Park-Weber is the cutaneous capillary malformation. Here the diagnosis of basic Klippel-Tenoy syndrome. So on conclusion, MDCT angiography is now an established diagnostic tool for non-invasive evaluation of peripheral vascularity. Careful selection of protocols and parameters are required for high quality study. 64 slide MDCTA with its thinner tube collimation, isotopic volume data sets, efficient MPR 3D reconstruction ability to visualize thinner vessels, establishing itself to become a front-line diagnostic tool in vascular imaging. Thank you.